Welcome back to Alien Isolation. I apologise about the volume issues in the previous episode and the numerous you knows and ums and ahs, the general disfluency that was present in the previous episode. I'm going to try and cut all that out because it is very distracting. So, we picked up the passcode that we require to get into the store that's down the way we came, and we'll go and do that before we head down the corridor. This ominous looking corridor. And we've got our first environmental obstacle ahead of us with that electric cable that's dangling down from the ceiling. So I said in the previous episode about this scale model of Sevastopol, and it's certainly an ugly space station. It's not elegant like the space station in 2001, or even, it doesn't even have the nice geometry of Deep Space Nine. It's very, but that kind of reinforces the, it's kind of got that brutal architecture, and that kind of reinforces the harshness and ruggedness of the universe that we're in just now. So you can actually use the keypad in your keyboard to enter passcodes. I don't know why it went 0345 there when it was 0340, but never mind. So in here we'll pick up some scrap, more scrap, and we'll also get our first blueprint. And on this blueprint you'll see we've got a universal symbol here, and that's the first aid symbol with the... They've changed it here to the white cross on the red background. And the reason for that is because it's illegal to actually put the red cross on the white background unless you're like a specific institution like the United Nations or the Red Cross or whatever. And yeah, I think that's why they've done that. So you need a stock of items before you're able to build, you know, something useful like a first aid kit or a flare. Or, I don't think you can build flares or smoke bombs and items of that kind of nature. So always make sure that wherever you are, you're always on the lookout for scrap and glue and sensors and batteries and things like that. So one thing I did find annoying, like I said in the previous episode, is once you've equipped something like a flare, I couldn't find a way to get rid of it at this point in the game. Once you pick up certain items later on, you're able to do so. So notice Apollo with the graffiti, and it had the eyes in the letters O, and I think that's suggesting that we've been watched. The cameras, or the CCTV cameras that are following us around, are the Apollo AI that, you know, that oversees the Sevastopol station, and it's watching us. Notice the three inverted triangles. We'll talk about symbolism and shape in a moment. We've also got, up here we've got a store ahead, and you can see the Mandarin characters. So that suggests that China is a force economically in space and has an influence in the era that we're currently in this game, which is something like 2115 or something like that, or 2145. So 22nd century. Here we've got as well, again, the Apollo with the eyes. We've got a pentagram over there to the right, and the pentagram usually represents the 5 human senses. Not always, I mean, it can represent other things as well, but weights lie to us. So we've got some graffiti there suggesting that Marshall Waits isn't who he appears to be, and we'll get more reinforcement about that concept soon. We've got another triangle here, and the triangle is a very important piece of symbolism in general. It represents in the Christian religion, Judeo-Christian religions, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. You've also got in pagan religions, you've got the 3 phases of the sun, dusk, noon and dawn, 3 vertices of a triangle, the male and female sex organs, and birth, growth and death. 3 phases of life. So, who's closing these shutters? Is it Apollo? Because it doesn't want the Taurans to be aware of our presence on board, that we've survived and made it this far into Sevastopol. One thing I didn't mention earlier was we passed the VidCom like video conferencing phones, and I think that's a shout out to 2001, a homage to 2001 and Vivian Kubrick when she speaks to Haywood Floyd. There you go, there's the VidComs, because they look very retro, they look old fashioned like the ones that you've seen in 2001 and Space Odyssey. I think there's a few references to Stanley Kubrick in this actually. Torrance might be another reference to Jack Torrance from The Shining, and it would make sense because Kubrick's films where they had the kind of similar ideas, this monster in the house concept. We'll talk about monster in the house concept a wee bit later in this episode. So I wasted a flare here. I don't think I meant to, but we picked one up straight away. Anyway, I like how we once we pump the Jenny, we get the arcade machines going on. It's definitely got this 1970s, 1980s feel to it. And we've got the number 42 there. That might be a shout out. Maybe that's a stretch to Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and 42 being the answer to everything. Yeah, so the pentagram, I mentioned that earlier. The 5 human senses: sight, smell, taste, sound, touch. Also spirit, air, water, fire and earth. That drawing, a wee girl's drawn an alien on that. And here we're going to get more information about Marshal Waits abandoning his civic duties or his legal duties as a marshal on board Sevastopol, and basically acting in his own interests, or maybe acting in behalf of an institution or a corporation's agenda. Not quite certain at this point, or it's not quite clear, but at least we know that he's not, protecting and upholding the values of the members of the public that are on board Sevastopol. And again, this here reinforces the idea that there's a loss of prosperity on board Sevastopol and in general in the universe. We get information here about the Apollo AI and the working Joes, and we get some creepy marketing kind of speak at the end there. And he also says something like, wherever you are, you're safe with the Apollo AI watching you. So again, reinforcing this idea that we should be, cautious when we do actually interact with we do encounter the AI and its androids. Whoever you are, you're being watched, or wherever you are, you're being watched. Sorry. So one of the key concepts of monster in the house horror films is the idea that the structure you're in, the building you're in, the vessel you're in, adds to the horror and the tension, because it serves as a maze and a trap. The more space you're able to put between yourself and the evil monsters, the less scary the concept becomes. And obviously in this case we are in this darkened, derelict, isolated, fucked up space station that is acting against our best interests, and is actually making it more difficult for us to survive and to get away from evil and horror and whatnot, to get away from danger basically. You can use the left bumper if you're using a gamepad to peek around corners and peek over walls, so that's worth using. So in this room we're going to encounter some horror, and we're going to encounter the seriousness of the situation that we're in. We encounter the first dead bodies, and I think this was actually very clever of the developers not to kind of explicitly show the gore and the guts and whatnot, but just to kind of zip them up into a black bag and let your imagination do the hard work there. And it's not hard when you're playing a game like this to frighten yourself and to imagine the worst. So you can hear cats, listen. So definitely sounds like a cat, and if that's Jonesy if they've included a cat in this game, that'll be a nice reference to Alien and Jonesy. And another concept with horror films and movies is the idea that somebody commits a sin that gives rise to the horror or allows the monster or the evil presence into the maze or the trapped building. Like in Alien, for example, it's corporate greed that leads to John Hurt's character being impregnated by the facehugger, and then the alien, getting on board and whatnot. In this game, I don't think it's 100%. It's not clear to me yet what the sin that's been committed. Obviously, we're getting lots of information to suggest that the corporations, Seegson and Weyland-Yutani, are both greedy and corrupt. But I don't know what specific sin Amanda Ripley's committed at this point. It's not clear to me. So the reason we didn't go further into that area was because you need a certain tool before you can unlock some of the doors through there. So this is setting Harris and Turner up. It's giving us information about their characters and personalities. There you go, fuck the marshals and looters will pay. And it suggests that they're thugs, Harris and Turner, and they're obviously used by Marshal Waits to exert force on the workforce and on the public on board Sevastopol. The name Sevastopol actually interests me. I don't know why they chose that. I'm aware of the name before this game because it's the name of a football team or a soccer team, and it's a city in the Crimean region of Russia.
Fuck.
So looks like we've got a murder here. The other one, the body that we seen through the blinds earlier on, looked like a suicide. But this definitely looks like, murder. But he's holding on to an important tool. The wrench becomes very important. It allows you to open these locked, the ones that have got the big kind of red locks on them. Again, reinforcement of the idea that the company really doesn't give a shit about the employees, and that their concerns and desires and whatnot are just secondary to everything else, basically. So left and right trigger, and then just swing the left stick to the left. There's some meaty locks, that's for sure. And this is us back. Are we back there? Maybe not yet, actually. I thought maybe we were back where we heard the cat noises, but I think that's coming up. Yeah, the alien itself, could you really call that evil? You know, is it evil? I mean, is it not just acting out of instinct? It's predatory, it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Heist. Did I say that right? Heist? Look, if you can't even tell me your name, we're gonna be here a hell of a long time.
Again, this just reinforces the idea that Turner and Harris are violent enforcers who act on behalf of Marshal Waits.
I'm gonna make damn sure someone's accountable. No? Tough guy, huh?
And the further that we get into Sevastopol Station, the stronger this idea becomes of, you know, Weyland-Yutani and Seegson being avaricious and putting company property and company goals ahead of people's safety and well-being. So this is us now back where we encountered the cat noises. And we'll pick up another blueprint. Oh no, we won't pick up another blueprint. I think we just pick up a sensor here. Yeah, just a sensor. Okay, so we're going to head back now to where the bodies were. And we're going to make our way forward. We can now remove the lock that was on the main door here.
Ripley.
Off station. A ship.
There's no ships here.
There are now.
Well, that's good news. Because things are not so good here. Something flew just now. Rocked this whole place.
I saw it.
But lady, that's the least of our problems.
Yeah?
Yeah. Something's on this station. Something you wouldn't believe.
Like what?
So,
Kill it. You get it?
Okay.
Axo, the name of this character, acts as what's known as a mentor. He's not a complete mentor. He also acts as the half man, and this is somebody who's able to give us the first
Separated by the blast.
hints about what it is we're up against. You know, he's not explicitly telling us what we're up against,
In it for me.
but he's able to
How do I know I can trust you?
kind of convey the essence of the monster we're up against. It's a killer, like he says. He can't really describe it more vividly than that, because it just kills. That's what it does.
This.
And as we'll see in coming minutes, he also fulfills the other requirements for a mentor character. He informs us, like I say, of what's happening, kind of thing. You know, he informs us of what we're up against and the situation we're in.
Is that you following
He's-
me back there?
Had to keep my distance. Can't take any chances.
Again, to change subject, but we've also got the star shape symbol there, and I think some of these other shapes are maybe Chinese characters and whatnot. Chinese graffiti. Another waste of a flare, and this is another aspect of the mentor character. He just said inquisitive, and you know, he's suggesting that we're poking our nose into places where we shouldn't be. And again, that's indicative and suggestive of the mentor archetype.
I'm John. This is Ringo. We're just some assholes. We haven't got time for this. Come on, Jana.
We're trying to get to comms.
We don't need their help. Don't tell them anything. Look, I've got the elevator working. Jana, let's go, okay?
I'm sorry. Good luck.
So unlike that other chap, the one that's in the lift with his girlfriend or whatever, Axel actually, you know, he's kind of in a way protecting us.
Keep them to their own. Safe enough.
And again, more information about the situation we're in and the mood and behaviour of people on board.
Hold up. Let me get the elevator. Allow me.
One thing I forgot to mention in
Touch.
previous episode is the key around Amanda Ripley's neck. Keys sometimes represent the ability to create opportunities as well as deny opportunities to others. This idea of revealing a mystery, also the acquisition of esoteric knowledge.
What the hell was going on? Right now.
Listen, darling. When we get to the ship, we can kick back, braid each other's hair, and chat all you want.
Yeah, when we get to my ship. I need to know what's going on. Right fucking now.
Fine. Like I said, there's a killer.
A killer. What does that even mean?
I ain't seen it, but it's here. Picking us off one by one.
What are you saying? A psycho? A person?
No, something else. A monster.
And as succinctly as that, he has told us what we're up against. A monster, a killer, and that's, like I say, that's all he can say.
Shit.
And it, you know,
This way. Get down.
that's as informative as it could be.
We should be looking for a way off. Are you crazy? There's no way off. At least we're safe down here. For
There's
now.
going to be lots of sources of evil in this game. There's going to be, you know, the AI, the alien,
You're making me nervous.
other humans. And it's interesting, we'll be able to compare and contrast and weigh up
Wherever we can find it.
which group is the most evil as we progress through the game.
Friends of
Another,
I've had run-ins with those guys before. They don't like strangers, even nice guys.
he's given us, again, he's warning us about, you know, other people on board.
You want to go and say hello? It's your funeral. Those guns aren't for show.
Someone should be doing something.
They are. It's called surviving.
And like he says, it's, you know,
Everyone's turning on
people are acting, you know, their level of behaviour has gone from high level rationality to base level survival instincts.
You've been living here?
And another
Butlers on holiday. Grab what you need. Don't know when
feature of the mentor archetype is the gift. The mentor will often gift the protagonist something that's useful, that will prove useful throughout their journey. And like he said, he's given us, you know, he's given us a torch basically. He's given us light, and that's one of the most useful items that we could get in the situation we're in.
Be careful not to flash it around. We don't want to get caught. Let's go.
And a warning there about how to use it. Okay, thanks for watching. In the next episode we'll cross the first threshold